Given that there's been a change of the Prime Ministership, do you think there is a pathway to a reasonable outcome, one that's acceptable to the resource sector and business more generally?
Well, look, we're hopeful and optimistic based on the new Prime Minister's commitment to consult more widely and to negotiate with more of the parameters of this tax on the table. I think it's important we get the right result here rather than that we necessarily are rushing to get a resolution. And I do think the process of some individual companies meeting and thrashing out deals with the Prime Minister on one-on-one basis is not a healthy process for a major tax reform that will affect a very large industry with a number of different players who are in different positions, and without the wide public consultation that allows both the wider business community and also the academic community and other practitioners in the tax field to really critique the merits of something. And this is, after all, as we all know, it's a radical type of tax that has not been adopted in any other countries in the form in which it was proposed. It also introduces risk, as it's proposed, into our federal funding arrangements by having taxpayers underwrite potentially losses and liabilities in the future. So those are elements of this particular proposal which firstly need to be more widely considered, and secondly actually reviewed and reconsidered in the context of coming up with something that may be a more acceptable approach and a more efficient approach moving forward.
So whatever comes out of the negotiations that are going on between the government and some of the resource companies, you'd like to see it put on the table for some period so it can be analysed and discussed?
Well, I think it inevitably has to be. There'll be no legislation on this issue before the election, more than likely, and therefore there is a period in which the legislation needs to be framed and discussed and reviewed. So that's an inevitable and an important and appropriate part of the process, it seems to us.